and urge you all to deliver on the expectations contained in the petroleum industry roadmap.
Reoiling the wells of a national treasure.
Rivers in the Niger Delta, we have made plans to man by emplacing houseboats to serve as a check.
Naval navigator marks down points for surveillance. A long-awaited water facility gets financial backing. Plus, presidential initiative gets cracking for a great haul. Welcome to NTA Network News. I am Ronke Kolawole. The Ministry of Petroleum Resources has been tasked to do whatever it takes towards maximizing the potential and opportunities in the oil and gas industry so as to stimulate the nation's economy in spite of current challenges. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the challenge at the public presentation of the petroleum industry roadmap, described the sector as a national imperative. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Petroleum Industry Roadmap, codenamed the 7 Big Wins, outlines the short and medium-term priorities towards growing Nigeria's oil and gas industry from 2015 to 2019. It is aimed at, among others, improving security and safety in the oil-producing areas, passage of the Petroleum Industry Reform Bill, efficiency and transparency in the operations of the industry, investment drive that will accelerate income for Nigeria, as well as make the country a net exporter of petroleum products by 2019. President Muhammadu Buhari said in spite of the prevailing challenges, petroleum industry remains critical to the Nigerian economy of today and the future.
This roadmap reflects vision and the aspiration of this administration for this sector, and urge you all to deliver on the expectations contained in the petroleum industry roadmap as we seek to consolidate change in this very important sector of our national economy.
The president said the golden era of high oil prices may not be here now, but oil and gas resources still remains the most immediate and practical keys out of Nigeria's present economic crisis. The federal government's commitment to supporting the growth of agriculture, solid minerals, and other critical sectors of the economy notwithstanding, virile and efficient oil and gas industry, President Buhari maintained, remains a critical enabler for not only the successful budget implementation, but also in laying a strong foundation for a more diversified economy.
There is also a dire need to instill a new culture of transparency and efficiency in the industry, streamline operations along best practices by championing and implementing strategic reforms at every layer of the industry. This will help us improve oil and gas production, explore our frontier basins, improve our local refining capacity, and above all, build sustainable partnership with the oil-producing communities.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, said the era of lamentation is over. Now is the time for positive actions that will take the petroleum industry forward and maximize its potentials and contributions to the nation's economy.
Niger Delta and security is key. On Tuesday, the President will be having a meeting with the stakeholders of the Niger Delta and oil-producing areas. That is how what importance he attaches to this. And for refineries, our job is well cut out for us. We must achieve 100% local refining capacity by 2020. And by 2019, our hope is that we would have stopped importation of petroleum products. And I'm going to be working with NNPC collaboratively and very aggressively on this.
The roadmap, the minister said, also provides a work plan that will ramp up national crude oil production to a target of about 3 million barrels per day and contributing positively in the area of gas to power. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And as Nigeria repositioned its oil industry for growth, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has continued extensive consultations in accelerating the rebalancing of the global oil market. The consultations, driven by the OPEC Secretary General, Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, are basically on strengthening the Algiers Accord, which has seen prices on average rebound by 14% since September 28. Aside the critical meeting with non-OPEC members, such as Russia, Dr. Barkindo was also in Baghdad, Iraq, where he met President Fuad Massoum and Prime Minister Dr. Haidar al-Abadi, as well as the oil minister Jabbar al-Oibi. Iraq wants to be part of the concession granted Nigeria, Libya, and Iran in the Algiers Accord due to their geopolitical peculiarities. Energy correspondent Hauwa Salihu Adama reports that the OPEC high-level consultation will continue subsequently in Kuwait and Abu Dhabi ahead of the organization's ministerial conference in November. President Muhammadu Buhari this Thursday granted audience to the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, in furtherance of his strategic consultations with critical stakeholders in the Change Nigeria project. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the former head of state, who arrived at the presidential villa, was received by the president at the entrance of his office. The two leaders thereafter retreated for talks behind closed doors, which lasted about 1 hour. Details of their discussions were not made public, and General Gowon did not speak to journalists. This is the second time the former head of state is visiting the president in the last 2 months. And now to the National Assembly, where the Senate has finally amended the contentious Code of Conduct Bill, limiting the tenure of the chairman and members of the Code of Conduct Bureau. Waziri Zeyanu, here's the report.
Actual amendments of this act were done by the House of Representatives and passed on May 31, 2016, while the Senate concurred and passed the bill on October 27th. Senator Samuel Anyau presented the bill at the Senate plenary on Thursday.
The committee wishes to recommend, 1, that the further sections and subsections as presented by the committee be approved and passed by the Senate.
That means you can be a senator at the age of 35 and after serving, or even that, you will not be qualified to be a member of the Code of Conduct Bureau.
The Constitution of Nigeria makes it that you have to be 30 years to be a member of the House of Reps. What we are talking about now is the Bureau. We are not talking of the CTC.
We will be doing ourselves and this National Assembly a better service if we step down this thing.
We should not create the impression that there's any haste in considering this bill. We have followed the rules to the letter up to this moment.
In spite of calls for suspension, the bill went through third reading and was subsequently passed.
Those who support that this bill be now read third time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate also considered and passed 2 reports of the Committee on Communications on the 2016 budget of the Nigerian Communication Commission and that of the Universal Service Provision Fund.
It is hereby recommended that the sum of 70,672 million be approved as the Nigerian Communication Commission year 2016 budget.
Outside plenary, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu played host to representatives of the International Monetary Fund and called for more cooperation and assistance from the world body. Meanwhile, the visiting United States delegation from the House Democracy Party visited Clerk of the National Assembly and pledged assistance in the areas of training and capacity building for legislative staff. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zeyanu, NTA News.
Still staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Communications Act, which seeks, among others, to prohibit the sales of illegally registered SIM cards. This bill also provides for the prohibition of adult content in the provision of internet services. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo has that report.
Sponsored by Representatives Nicholas Osai and Peter Batterson, the bill also seeks to ensure online safety of information and also to regulate unsolicited telephone calls from service providers.
Put this into a bill and also to prescribe sanctions for violation of such aspect of this bill.
NCC as a regulator is supposed to save us from most of these things.
Similarly, a bill for an act to mandate service providers to make available caller location information of users to security agencies when needed, sponsored by Representative Igariwe Iduma from Ebonyi State.
Or any emergency situation can make a call to any of the security agencies and have the confidence that such calls will be responded to immediately.
The motion on the urgent need for the federal government to investigate the non-recovery of over 2.4 trillion naira debt by Asset Management Company of Nigeria was adopted as moved by Representative Jombul Shekarau from Plateau State.
Over 2.4 trillion, Mr. Speaker, is still in the hand of debtors, especially those that have non-performing loans in their hands.
Also adopted is the motion moved by Representative Anayon Nebe, urging the Inspector General of Police to order the arrest of any person found selling naira notes.
That the ugly trend has continued despite the unavailability of crisp naira notes.
6 bills were passed at first reading. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Away from the National Assembly, the federal government has set 2018 for the completion of the Kashimbila multipurpose dam as payment of outstanding funds has been approved. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Rajifashola, said this while inspecting the project. Musbah Udan Wahab reports.
All the ministers heard about this project is from the media. For the first time, he's coming to see for himself the potential the Kashimbila project has. And the hydropower project is on his mind. The 40 megawatts hydropower component initiated to maximize the potential of the life-saving project has the capacity to serve Southern Taraba and beyond. It is said to be at 99% completion with 4 turbines and generators already installed. However, its progress has been stalled due to lack of funds. But now the minister's visit is signaling a new vigor to the project. Construction has commenced on the transmission tower for the 132 double circuit to evacuate power from the dam through Takum, Wukari to Yandef.
The transmission lines, it's just in the beginning. As you saw the first tower, and we intend in 14 months to complete the project.
We've approved payment for the contractor, so I have now come to see what we are paying for to ensure that this project is delivered.
Water for domestic use and irrigation are part of the other components, and the government is looking at possibilities of expansion.
President Buhari is determined that this project will be completed in record time and it will serve all of its purposes, protect them from flooding.
The Kashimbila Buffer Dam was primarily initiated to protect 6 Nigerian states from the effect of possible further breakage of Lake Nyos in Cameroon. From Kashimbila, Taraba State, Musbah and Wahab, NT News.
The present administration will not relent in its effort at tackling corruption and insecurity, as well as bringing the country out of recession. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated this at the 2016 Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria annual lecture in Abuja. Laure Bala Hassan reports.
The topic for this year's annual lecture is fighting corruption and growing a sustainable economy, which is coming against the backdrop of economic recession and the crusade against corruption. Information Minister Lai Mohammed said more than ever before, Nigerians have come to see corruption as a major impediment to the progress of Nigeria.
Countries that have consistently scored high marks in the annual Corruption Perception Index of Transparency International are also the same countries that have managed to grow a sustainable economy.
Former CBN Deputy Governor Obadiah Melafia, who analyzed the subject, said corruption has robbed Nigeria of its honor and has dented the country's image before the international community.
Africa alone is losing about $100 billion every year in outward hemorrhage. This amount, in fact, is enough to finance all our deficits in infrastructures.
Former EFCC chairman Nuhu Ribadu said to fight corruption, Nigerians must reflect and change their attitude and conduct, adding that the judiciary must also cooperate.
If there is one area we need national consensus, ladies and gentlemen, now it is in this supporting this effort to tackle corruption.
Director General, Nigerian Television Authority was represented by Executive Director Training Ibrahim Damisa.
The restoration of the teaching of civics again in our schools will serve as another template for the socialization processes against corruption in this country.
We look at what are the topical issues that are happening in the country, and we try to provide a platform for Nigerians to express their views.
This year's lecture is the 11th in the series. In Abuja, Laure Bala Hassan, NTA News.
Thank you, Laure. As part of efforts towards combating criminal activities along the nation's territorial waters, the Nigerian Navy says it has identified 37 creeks within the Niger Delta region for continuous surveillance. Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Iba stated this in Calabar after inspection of naval facilities within the Eastern Naval Command Headquarters. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Iba said already the Eastern Naval Command has started mounting checks at the identified flashpoints to checkmate criminal activities within the creeks. He commended the Eastern Naval Command for the maintenance of naval equipment and facilities despite its meager resources, while assuring Navy's commitment to fighting crime.
We have over 6,000 creeks, rivers in the Niger Delta. It is those 37 that we have made plans to man by emplacing houseboats to serve, as a check to the activities of these criminals.
While in Cross River State, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Iba inaugurated a boys' hostel at the Nigerian Navy Secondary School, Akpabuyo, and a fully furnished 9-classroom block donated by the Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral James Oluwole. He also inspected some ongoing projects at the Attenborough Naval Staff Quarters as well as the Navy Reference Hospital. Before leaving Calabar, the Chief of Naval Staff had a chat with the officers and ratings of the command. Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
And still talking security, another group of cultists and pipeline vendors have surrendered their arms and weapons to the state's Amnesty Committee following the deadline issued on compliance. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
Experienced the destructive tendencies of cultism and militancy in the Queryland, chiefs, women and youths gathered at the council headquarters to witness the much-awaited disarmament program of the state government through the amnesty offer. Overseas splinter groups of Icelanders and Debam surrendered 4 AK-47, 6 pump actions, pistols, double and single barrel guns. The traditional ruler of his Yoruba kingdom is a blessing Wago, who performed the traditional prayer, placed a curse on anyone who, after the amnesty program, returns to pipeline vandalism and other criminal activities. At Andoni local government area, it was a decision of Obolo people to shun all manners of economic sabotage ranging from pipeline vandalism, sea piracy and other criminal activities. The Amnesty Committee Chairman Kenneth Chinda wondered where the future of the state and country would be if youths continue engaging in militancy, economic sabotage and kidnapping in the state.
Vessels who come into River State, you kidnap them. Industrialists here, you kidnap them. We shall not allow you to continue to have your way.
The groups, Icelanders, Greenlanders, MEND, and other sea pirate groups submitted their weapons in Andoni, Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
The coalition of Niger Delta youth leaders have appealed to youths in the region to embrace peace and accord the federal government needed support for the development of the area. Leader of the coalition, Emeni Ibe, says this when the group visited the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishaki, in Abuja. He pledged unflinching support to the amnesty program of the federal government, which has trained and empowered agitators who embrace peace. He urged Niger Delta youths to embrace dialogue with the government to bring lasting peace to the area. The Chief of Defense Staff, represented by the Chief of Police and Plans Defense Headquarters and Vice Marshal Bashir Saidu, said the nation requires peace and unity to attract foreign investors and appealed to youth leaders and the youths to support government's efforts in the quest to develop the region. Following the formal inauguration of the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, it has set out targets for the rebuilding of the region with strategic programs, monitoring and evaluation framework. This was at the maiden meeting of the committee. Joseph Orok reports.
The meeting dwells largely on the critical mandates of the committee, which is to, among other issues, work out modalities to alleviate the poor living condition of internally displaced persons in the region.
Government is committed to providing effective coordination and guidance addressing the humanitarian crisis, the resettlement and the reconstruction of the Northeast region.
The committee discussed on systematic approach to be adopted to meet up with the immediate, short and long-term programs and projects to be implemented based on the needs assessments for rebuilding the region.
We are going to channel this strategic implementation framework through a document that we have developed.
The committee, headed by General Theophilus Danjuma, has members drawn from the civil society organizations, thematic government agencies, the security and representatives from the 6 northeast states. In Abuja, Joseph Orok, NTA News.
And now to other issues. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, says Nigeria needs leaders who will stand in the gap for Christ in the proclaiming of Christian faith, so Nigerians can hold them accountable for their deeds. This was at the annual National Prayer Breakfast in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Zumba reports.
The theme was a tree and its fruit. Is yours a blessing or a curse to Nigeria? Had men of God from across the country to stand in the gap for the nation. The secretary to the federal government also said that Nigerians need to look at the positive side of life as endurance builds character.
As Christians and as leaders, we must all strive to be the light of the world,
building bridges of unity as well as engendering harmony and progress in the nation.
Reverend Abu Beko led in the prayers for the nation.
May you arise and be one of the best that the world has ever seen.
Come and heal us as a nation. Come and feed us as a nation.
As they stand strong in the arm of government that they are, we pray for grace, we pray for might, we pray for wisdom.
The National Prayer Breakfast, which takes place annually, with 3 basic principles to communicate the power of parliamentary fellowship around the teachings of Jesus Christ and to build lasting relationship amongst themselves, irrespective of political persuasions. Ifeanyi Izumba, NT News.
A report just reaching us says, on the invitation of Harvard University in the United States, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo will be delivering a lecture at the universities on Nigeria in the World Seminar this Thursday. A statement released by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, Laulu Akonde, says Professor Osinbajo will be talking on destroying Boko Haram and rebuilding the Nigeria's northeast, besides highlighting the progress made by the Buhari presidency in degrading Boko Haram, resulting in the freedom of thousands of Nigerians previously held captive by the insurgents, including some of the abducted Chibok girls. Vice President Osinbajo's lecture will be a clarion call for a more concerted global action against terrorism and an increasingly effective international collaboration regarding the humanitarian crisis in the Northeast. The Vice President will also visit the Divinity School and the African Studies Center in Houston, Texas. Professor Shimbajo will, on Friday, participate in a town hall event and also a business conference organized by U.S.-based Nigerians on infrastructural development issues. He will round up the visit in Houston by attending the evening gala to honor high-flying U.S.-based Nigerians. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. 3 officials down from rumble in the Alliance for Democracy. When we return, do stay.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok schoolgirl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
Would you like some water? It's cold, especially for you.
Which era are you living in? We have a fridge.
When everything else in your house is from the present, then why are your toilet cleaning methods from the past? Harpic, all-in-one for you. Compared to other toilet cleaners, Harpic removes top stains, kills all germs, and removes bad odors for a shining, clean, and fresh toilet.
Wow.
You should also take the Harpic
all-in-one challenge.
IGR workshop for heads of tertiary institutions in Nigeria, holding in Abuja. In times like this, only creative and innovative institutions can fulfill their visions and missions. Join other vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts for this 360-degree strategic blueprint summit for tertiary institutions, internally generated and third-stream revenues. Date 1st and 2nd November 2016. Venue Race Continental Hotel, Central Business District, Abuja. For inquiries, call 0818-502-1405 or 090-345-34925. You can also email us with info@scbsedu.org or you visit our website on www.scbsedu.org/IGR Abuja to register. Please come with the directors of income generating centers of your institution. IGR Workshop. Relearn, network, and re-strategize. This initiative is of Sean Cousins Consulting and NTA TV Enterprise.
The founder, Kwakwando Foundation for the Physically Challenged Persons, Senator Osita Izunaso, celebrates 50th and 11th anniversary of his foundation. On the theme, Touching Lives, keynote speaker, Bishop Matthew Kuka, Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese. Venue, International Conference Center, Abuja. Date, Sunday, 30th October 2016. Time, 12 noon. Senator Osita Izunaso, announcer.
Do you know that importing consumables and domestic products kill local manufacturing and negatively affect the growth of the economy? That some imported products are dangerous to your health? That building factories can generate massive employment and grow the economy? Buying locally made products and services means investing back in the economy. Thousands of Nigerians are innovative and can take Nigeria to the next level. Growing the economy starts with you and I. Raise the standard. Grow the economy. Buy made in Nigeria.
Thanks for still being with us on NTA Network News. Redirecting fiscal and monetary policies in the nation to address present economic challenges came to the fore as the 2016 Fiscal Liquidity Assessment Committee retreat opens. Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, challenged them on options to steer the economy out of uncertainties. Details with Leah Katumba Batunde.
Nigeria firmly slipped into recession with the release of second quarter GDP figures, occasioned by a global fall in oil prices, energy shortages and price hikes, depressed consumer demand as well as a spate of militancy and insurgency among others. Monetary policy rose up to the occasion by deploying conventional and unconventional tools to address the situation. Governor of the Central Bank, in a keynote address to the flag retreat, observed that the conditions that inflamed the economy were mostly structural, with antidotes mainly outside the monetary purview.
The theme of this year's retreat is indeed acts, as it encapsulates very important and urgent need for complementary fiscal policies to unlock the pressure valves in the domestic economy.
Therefore, the two-day retreat has participation of all states of the Federation for the first time to come up with quick fixes to the present economic challenge.
In effect, therefore, coordination between the two continues to be an absolute necessity.
How do we have policies that will be complementary? I think that's the whole idea of it, and cooperation can never be too much.
This year's retreat goes by the theme Fiscal Management under Uncertainty, Implications for Macroeconomic Stability. It serves as a platform for monetary and fiscal authorities to share information for critical synergy in steering the economy aright. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
And talking politics now, the leadership of the Alliance for Democracy, AD, has approved the suspension of 3 of its national executive members for what it calls anti-party activities. At a media briefing in Abuja, the party maintains a stand on Mr. Olushola Oke as AD candidate for Ondo governorship election. Abdullahi Garba Brenin Kudu reports.
The media briefing came a day after a rowdy National Working Committee meeting of the party. 2 of the suspended officers, National Organizing Secretary and Legal Advisor, actively protested at that meeting. The AD National Chairman, however, stated that they were suspended for holding unauthorized National Executive Committee meeting in Akure.
The constitution of our party is crystal clear, and we have the capacity to convene and to hold NEC and who to preside at those meetings. So as far as we are concerned, we are not aware. 2, in view of that, 3 officers of the party have been put on suspension pending the decision of NEC as will be convened very soon.
The party also advised members against parading themselves as leadership of the AD Board of Trustees, as the party's national executive has not constituted the BOT. He also announced plan to visit foundation members in efforts to revive the party. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army is to collaborate with the new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD, on empowerment of families of Nigerian Army personnel through the Barrack Investment Initiative Program. Chief of Air Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said this when he hosted a delegation from NEPAD led by its national coordinator, Gloria Akobundu, in Abuja. The Army chief said the program was designed to engage widows of fallen heroes of the Nigerian Army and youths in the barrack on agriculture, fisheries and poultry to empower them and support their families. The national coordinator of NEPA, Gloria Akobundu, commended the Nigerian Armed Forces for the success recorded in the fight against Boko Haram and militancy. Given available domestic human and material resources, Nigeria is on the first lane to bring to an end its being a consumer nation, especially in ICT, to further diversify the economy. Minister of State Education Professor Anthony Awoka stated this at the presentation of award received in recent times by the Federal Science and Technical College, Yaba, Lagos, at different national and regional competition. Abdullahi Musa Suleja Here's details.
As one of the foremost technical and science institutions and fully aware of the importance of ICT in national development and global competitiveness, Federal Science and Technical College Yaba registered in some high-level competitions. They include the Cisco Nitridat ICT African Competition and 2016 African Future Trust Model United Nations, which it emerged first and second consecutively. Professor Anthony Amuka said there is no better time for Nigeria to have less attention to oil sector and look for income elsewhere than now.
Just think about a situation where Apple has a big factory in Nigeria, where these young men will dovetail into, from secondary school, they dovetail into those industries, the sky will be the limit.
Principal of the college, Chris Ogoji, said the college will not let the country down. Out of the 9 awards, the college won 7, and overall, profiling its head girl, Oluchi Onwachuku, as overall first to attend an international conference in New York next year at no cost to the school. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Meanwhile, young Nigerian investors who distinguished themselves in the 2016 NTA ETV Expo have been presented with awards to end the 3-day event. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that secondary school students from across the country featured.
For the past 4 days, these young Nigerian inventors have been showcasing their innovations in line with the theme of the expo, which is improved technology and impetus to mechanized agriculture, renewable energy, and economic development of the nation. This, the organizers say, is in line with the diversification policy of the federal government.
So we can further the cause of unity, project government policy and principles, and believe.
Executive Director Training and Capacity Building, Ibrahim Damisa, represented the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad.
The NTA on its part is promising to continue to improve more richly this annual harvest of creativity, intellectualism, and most of all, the educational development for the nation.
We'll be having an exposition before the end of the year or very early next year. We will reach out to them to further exhibit these things that they have shown to the world with a view to encouraging them the more.
We must recognize and appreciate and encourage and document any scientific discovery by our children, by our students in Nigeria. There's a bill already that will be amended.
Tene Praise Adamu from Taraba State emerged the overall winner in the junior category for science and technology.
So happy. We like to encourage more students to come and make their state proud.
The expo is the 10th in the series organized by the NTA Educational Television. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Kudos to the NTA. Real change in Nigeria will be faster with selfless leadership and growing consciousness among citizens to imbibe value and patriotism. Guests on NTA's current affairs program, Moment for Thought, say every Nigerian family owes this a duty to the nation.
Becomes exemplary. As public officials, they see public office as public trust.
What makes development happen? It is the cooking of the conscience of the individual that has the content of the values, what do and not to do.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight at 10:30 p.m. on NTA Network Service. Vera is standing by in Lagos studios for the next report. Hello, Vera.
Okay. Good evening. This is Lagos. 4 suspects arrested in connection with the kidnap of Uniba of Ibadan of Yeshua Goriola Oseni, having arraigned before Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo of the Lagos High Court in Iboshere, Lagos.
The suspects, who allegedly carried out the crime on July 16, 2016, at the palace of the monarch, were said to have murdered the security detail attached to the palace, Sunday Eniola Okonlao, and the commercial motorcycle rider Joseph Okeke. After the charges were read to them, they all pleaded not guilty, while the Attorney General urged the court to remand them in prison pending trial. While answering questions from journalists at the end of the proceedings in court, the Lagos State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Adeniji Kazeem, said the arrest and commencement of prosecution of the accused persons in record time of less than 60 days was a clear signal of the readiness of Governor Akinwumi Ambode's administration to rid the state of all forms of criminality.
This government is fully up to its task. It also sends a very strong message to the criminals out there, kidnappers, cultists, rapists, that no matter how long it takes, justice will be swift and decisive.
Justice Taiwo, in a brief ruling, remanded the accused in prison and adjourned the matter to November 4th, 11th and 18th, 2016 for trial. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the NTA Network News from the Lagos Network Center. We take a break now to bring you some messages. The news returns shortly. Don't go.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Hey, I just had a shower, but why do I still feel so hot and sweaty? Let me finish this and I will show you something surprising. Let's take a look. See, heat means sweat. Sweat brings germs. Dettol 100 times cool. It removes germs to leave you feeling clean, fresh, and 100 times cool. Beat the heat and germs with Dettol 100 times cool.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
In life, there are many distractions, but the future is always created by those who can focus on the goal. Techno Phantom 6 with dual back camera and adjustable focusing technology. Never say it, show it.
Glad to know you're still with us on NTA Network News tonight. Nigeria's equities market extends the gain with 0.43% increase at the close of Thursday's trading session. Here is Vivian Idekpefo with details on business news.
Thank you for joining us on the business news segment. Experts say it is time Nigeria delved into the opportunities that abound in digital technology to grow its digital economy. With the right digital infrastructure and innovation, they argue that Nigeria can explore the huge market that digital technology portends, especially in the bid to diversify the economy and create jobs.
The telecommunications sector is another sector. If you observe, a lot of the musicians no longer run around looking for shows. Why? Because as simple as a ringtone is, many of them earn over 20 million naira per month just by singing a song, and the telecommunications people adopting them as ringtones for their subscribers. So we need to have a linkage, a synergy of sorts. All sectors should come together and save this economy.
The McKinsey Global Institute projects that digital finance alone could lead to a boost in GDP up to $3 trillion by 2025, create 95 million jobs across sectors, and save $110 billion in leakages in emerging countries annually. The pound jumped to a week high against the US dollar after the GDP data and the yield on the 10-year government bonds hit its highest level since UK's exit from the European Union. The figure published Thursday revealed a stronger than expected growth, thereby diminishing the likelihood of a further cut in rates by the Bank of England. Still on the financial market back home, stocks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange maintained a winning streak as the equities market closed Thursday on a positive note. The all-share index appreciated by 0.43%. And that concludes this segment. The rest of the bulletin continues shortly. Good evening.
Thank you, Vivian. The National Bureau of Statistics has enumerated the Zuba axis of the Federal Capital Territory in continuation of its multiple indicator cluster survey. Joy Uzo has the report.
Data collection and utilization is known to be useful in improving the quality of life of citizens around the world. This team from the National Bureau of Statistics is in one of the communities in Zuba, a town in Gwagwalada Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to carry out the multiple indicator cluster survey, an initiative supported by UNICEF. During their interactions with the community, they sourced data on the situation of children and adults, highlighting education, health, child protection, water and sanitation. Rekia Mohammed is the NBS State Officer for FCT.
How children have been fed in this country, education, background of them, the women and children, how are they doing in the hospital, how are they getting, immunization. We ask them questions on the immunization card. They'll provide it for us, we look at it and we record it. So after the survey now, we'll now go back to analyze it. That is when we'll get the answer, we'll get what we actually.
Mr. Sunday Ezri, father of 7, has lived in Zuba for the past 20 years. He granted the team access to his household to carry out the survey.
So I want the government at least look into this very particular Zuba and do at least road, water, electricity. I think that's the most important thing.
The survey is being conducted simultaneously in 60 clusters across the FCT and will end by December. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige and other social partners have met to validate the reviewed national employment policy, which has the objectives of promoting the goals of full productive employment in the national economy, after which a committee will be set up to evaluate its success before adoption by the Federal Executive Council. Emmanuel Ayimiro has that report.
A report by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that over 1.8 million youth enter the Nigerian labor market annually, out of which only 10% find jobs in the farmer sector. To move away from this trend of unemployment and underemployment, which necessitated the steps taken in 2012 to prepare the policy, the International Labour Organization and other social partners want a coherent, integrated and sustainable multi-sectoral response to the challenges.
We do not have a choice of non-implementation of this policy, as the consequence of doing so will only aggravate the already serious challenge of unemployment.
A recent World Bank report indicates that Nigeria needs to create 50 million jobs between 2010 and 2030 in order to reduce unemployment.
The validity of the policy is expected to provide framework for government's future interventions and programs on employment creation. In Abuja, Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
To ensure a hitch-free and safe 2016 pilgrimage to Israel, Rome and Greece, the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission (NCPC) has concluded plans to airlift intended pilgrims as it selects carriers. Ogwa Onyedibia has the report.
The signing of the Air Carriers Agreement is referred to as the high point of a process we started earlier in the year to ensure that intending Christian pilgrims get the best experience in every possible way. Chairperson Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Monsurat Sumonu, reiterated government's position to ensure Nigerian citizens are accorded utmost respect and dignity in their spiritual quest.
We will not relent in doing our oversight functions properly.
Executives of the NCPC, while calling for support of the pilgrimage, especially through prayers, challenge intending pilgrims to take advantage of the opportunity.
It is entirely up to them to see that they mobilize, they sensitize their workforce and put this project in the highest possible place.
NCPC is committed that all the pilgrims that go to Jerusalem or any other part of the world, Greece and Italy, they return alive and in good health.
2 airlines, one foreign and the other indigenous, were adjudged suitable for the air charter execution. In Abuja, Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia, NTA News.
We now take another break for more messages.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Call of change, stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins
Welcome to the last lap of the network news tonight. Senegal intensifies skills acquisition program for prison inmates. This and more on Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezirike.
Officials in Senegal have intensified empowerment programs for prisoners with the inauguration of a bakery in prison to provide inmates with fresh bread and the opportunity of a future career in baking. This comes as armed rebels kidnapped at least 30 children after attacking 2 schools in South Sudanese Amadou state. Meanwhile, South Sudanese religious leaders say Pope Francis has accepted an invitation to visit the country to preach peace, and Russian ships reportedly to be refueling at sea off North Africa en route to Syria. The development follows NATO allies' voiced concern that the planes could be used to attack civilians in Syria. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Zarike, NTA News.
And now to sports. Ongoing Nationwide Football League 1 Super 8 tournament ends in Lagos as former heavyweight boxing champion Vladimir Klitschko confirms bout with Anthony Joshua. Kenem Magbudike brings us details on Sports Update.
The 2016 Nationwide League Super 8 tournament got underway at the Agege Township Stadium, Lagos, Tuesday, with Enyimba Feeders and Federal Road Safety Corps Football Club playing out a 1-0 draw in the opener, while Popular Football Club of Owerri defeated Bida Lions Football Club by 2-1.
Penalty steps up. It's a brilliant finish. Set the keeper the wrong way.
We are calling on most all the Premier Clubs. At least the Apida team should be registered to the Nationwide League, because that is the only way those boys will be competitive.
Some commands are living up to expectation at the ongoing 2016 Nigerian Air Force Games in Katsina, with Corporal Kwedu Tilda of the headquarters Abuja claiming gold medal in the women's 100 meters hurdles.
We're having a lot of records, which you'll see at the end of the day when we are during the closing ceremony, when it will be displayed.
Aircraftman Elder David of the Headquarters Mobility Command won gold medal in the men's 110 meters hurdles. Headquarters Training Command took the gold medal in men's 4x400 meters race, while the women's gold medal was won by Headquarters Logistics Command. Meanwhile, the golf event ended midweek with Group Captain David Solomon leading Tactical Air Command to victory as Headquarters Nigerian Air Force won gold medal in wrestling.
Next on Unline Up.
Hello and welcome. Let's have a quick look at the weather prospects for Friday. The southeast coast would likely experience some isolated morning rains, then cloudiness to the southwest coast and the inland cities. Over the central states, we anticipate partly cloudy conditions. The extreme north would be in dust haze, though in moderate visibility for the day. And in the afternoon, we expect some changes weather-wise over the central region as sunny conditions are expected, though with some form of haziness. While over the south, localized thunderstorms are anticipated. From the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, I am Imara Joyce Nchom. Thanks for watching.
And before we go, a reminder that President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the unveiling of the Petroleum Industry Roadmap and urged the supervisory ministry to work harder at maximizing the potential and opportunities of the industry. You can, however, get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. We thank you for watching the Network News. I am Ronke Kolawole.